Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about extraction shooters, why they are blowing up right now, and why so many of these games still struggle to keep players invested long-term. Extraction shooters are some of the most intense games you can play, because every time you load in, you face other players, AI enemies, and real risk. You bring in gear you care about, make decisions under pressure, manage resources, and try to extract alive knowing one mistake can cost you everything you worked for. High stakes, consequences, and fights where every choice matters define the genre. And when the loop works, it creates tension few games can match. It taps into fear of loss and anticipation because the outcome of each run is shaped by your decisions. But the problem is not difficulty. Many extraction shooters rely on stress as their main engagement. Tension is the appeal, but tension without relief turns into burnout. If every session is non-stop pressure, with no moments to reset or regroup, jumping back in starts to feel exhausting instead of exciting, even for skilled players. Escape from Tarkov is the strongest example of what this genre can achieve. Its gunplay and weapon systems are unmatched, and its realism makes the stakes feel meaningful. Tarkov shows how powerful consequence can be, but it also struggles with replayability for many players. Movement is punishing, recovery from mistakes is slow, raids take a long time, and dying late can feel brutal and demoralizing, especially when that loss costs a time investment. On top of that, Tarkov is PC only, which raises the barrier to entry. For some players, that level of punishment is the appeal, but for others, it creates friction that makes returning feel more like a chore than a reward. That is where newer games like ARC stand out. Movement feels smoother, traversal is more enjoyable, and the game is easier to read in fights while still maintaining tension. ARC understands that movement needs to feel good in a genre built around repetition and risk, because players are more willing to re-engage when moving through the world is enjoyable instead of restrictive. But even when mechanics feel strong, something is still missing in the genre. Many extraction shooters have systems but thin worlds. There is often not enough story, not enough sense of place, and not enough reason to feel connected to the environments beyond efficiency and loot routes. When worlds feel disposable, deaths feel transactional rather than meaningful. Another piece that gets overlooked is clarity. When players do not understand why they died or what risk they were taking, frustration builds fast. Clear audio cues, readable spaces, and consistent rules make losses feel fair, which is critical in a genre built around punishment. Long-term retention is not just loot. What keeps players coming back is meaningful progression, systems that evolve over time, continuity between sessions, and worlds that feel alive rather than disposable. That is why shared spaces or hubs are the missing piece I feel extraction shooters need to give a go. Not just menus or lobbies, but places where players can exist, prepare, trade, and decompress between raids, so the world feels like a real location instead of a screen between matches. Those spaces add contrast to the stress, reinforce presence, and make each return feel intentional rather than mechanical. When games do not communicate risk clearly or give players a reason to care about the space they are in, deaths start to feel arbitrary instead of earned, and frustration builds quickly. The solution is not making extraction shooters easier, because tension is essential. The solution is making risk more intentional and pairing stress with depth through narrative, atmosphere, and systems that give players moments to breathe and reconnect. Ultimately, the difference between frustration and motivation comes down to whether players feel respected by the systems around them. When danger is communicated clearly, smart decision-making is rewarded, and both success and failure feel meaningful. Players are far more willing to accept loss and keep engaging. That is why I have been thinking about this so much lately, especially while playing the marathon playtest from December 12th through the 16th. I cannot say much yet because of the NDA, but Bungie has a proven track record with atmosphere, world building, and long-term storytelling, and that makes me optimistic about where marathon and the extraction shooter genre could go next. Extraction shooters do not need to be casual. They need worlds that feel worth surviving in. Let me know what you think. What do you feel this genre is still missing? If you enjoyed this breakdown, consider subscribing. My name is Aiden, this is Foam, Freedom of Artistic Mind, and this channel is where I break down games, creativity, and the ideas that keep me curious. Thanks for watching.